Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and start. My name is Sharon Myers, and I'm one of the nurses here in the cardiovascular wellness program. And I also have always had a special interest in psychosocial things and how we make behavior change and how our brain works to help us make behavior change and all that. So today I thought of talking about gratitude because Thanksgiving's coming up. So it's a good time of year to think about gratitude. But also, there's a lot happening in the world with wars and AI. Just talking to Linda about AI and political things. And so it's a good opportunity to talk about gratitude with everything going on. But the bottom line is there's always going to be a lot going on in our lives and in the world. And so it's a good habit. I want you to think of gratitude as really a habit to get into, because we can use it the rest of our lives every day to really help our lives be more joyful and enjoyable and less stressful. So we're going to talk about gratitude today. And when I say gratitude, what do you think of? What does gratitude mean to you?
Showing appreciation.
Showing appreciation. What?
Thankful.
Being thankful. Yes. Acknowledging the things that are good in your life and being grateful for them. So that brings up a good point that we're going to talk about. Before you can acknowledge something, you actually have to see it, right? You have to see that it's in your life. And we can kind of get on cruise control and not see all the goodness that's in our life. So any other thoughts on gratitude when you think of it for yourselves? Any other definitions?
Makes us happy for what we have.
Being happy for what you have. Yes. Yeah. Wonderful. These are all wonderful things. Why don't we remember to do that? Right. Yeah. Bombarded constantly with other things. Now there's acknowledgement of another one's value. Yes. Because a lot of our gratitude has to do with other people and relationships and noticing those things. So I am grateful today, right now, for all of you showing up here and listening to this talk and to see all of your smiling, familiar faces. It really means a lot to me. I'm grateful for all of you.
I'm grateful to be here.
Good, good. So let's take a moment to think about what we're grateful for right now, just in your own mind. So I put down some definitions of gratitude just to get us started. And so the Latin for gratitude is gratia, which means gratefulness, having to do with kindness, generousness, a gift, the beauty of giving and receiving, or getting something for nothing. And then the Buddhist definition comes from the word katanuta, which is a Pali word, which has two parts. The first part, kata, means that which has been done, especially that which has been done to oneself. And then anuta, which means knowing or recognizing. So once again, that knowing or recognizing is an important part of gratitude. So the knowing or recognizing of what has been done for one's benefit. Simple as that. So looking at the literature, there's different people talking about what really is gratitude: an emotion, an attitude, a habit, a personality trait. Are we born with it? Coping response. So it's kind of all those things, really. Once we feel gratitude, that does create an emotion inside of it, doesn't it? It changes how we feel when we have gratitude. It is an attitude. And when we say that it's an attitude, that reminds us that it is a habit or something that we can develop. We're in charge. We choose our attitude that we have. We can't choose what happens to us every day or what's happening in the world, but we can choose our attitude about it or how we respond to it or how we think about it. Personality trait. Some of us are born just being more empathetic than others. We all have differences, strengths and weaknesses. And those of us that are more empathetic may have an easier time getting in touch with gratitude. So it can be partially part of a personality trait, but we can all develop our gratitude habit. It's something that we can all work on and create. And it's definitely a coping response. It gets us through the hard times. The most important part of all this is that gratitude is a strength that can be enhanced or improved with awareness and practice. So I hope from today you kind of get the idea that this is just a habit that you can practice and it just can become more automatic in your lives. It's a tool to have in your toolbox, just like any other tool that we use to get through life. It's a tool to use. And it's a choice. So take a look at this slide up here for just a few seconds. And then tell me what you notice. Anybody, just what do you notice up there? Yeah, on the screen. A little black dot, yeah. Anything else?
Circle.
Circle.
Large white space.
Large white space. So typically, we notice, we bring our attention to kind of the darkness or the dark spots in our life, don't we? We're wired to do that. We're wired to notice when something bad is happening so we can protect ourselves against it. But if we just focus on that one dark spot, we miss how much other part of the space was taken up by white. Much more than that one little dark space, right? So we go through our lives focusing on the dark spots, and we don't notice that there's white and there's space and there's other things all around those dark spots. And that's what gratitude is it's really noticing there's another story there, there's other things going on, even in the midst of darkness. When we're in a really bad place, there's always whiteness and other things going on around us. So that's an important lesson to keep in mind. And it's okay, yes.
You made the circle is black, but I think even no matter what color, I think I would have focused on that.
Yes.
So it wasn't. I mean, black equates darkness, but if it would have been like bright.
If it would have been red, if it would have been blue, right? Yes, right.
So
we can focus in on one area of our life, no matter what color it is. We can focus in on one area and we miss the whole space around it. Yeah, good point.
Sorry. And
it's okay when we're having difficulties to focus on that one area. But when we just focus on that other area and we miss that there's a whole other story going on. And the whole other story many times can help us with that one area. So gratitude is a strength that can be enhanced with awareness and practice. And it involves noticing, once again, not just noticing that one small area in our life, but noticing other areas that are around that, having a deep sense of appreciation and thankfulness for those positive aspects of our life. Once again, it doesn't mean that we're all willy-nilly and Pollyanna, that we don't notice what's going on or negative things in our life and that we don't work on those things, but that we see and include the other meaningful, positive, and true aspects that are also happening. So right now, with everything that's going on in the world, we can have a tendency to focus on those things and feel overwhelmed by them and feel hopeless. But there's a whole other story. There's other things going on in the world and in our lives and in our toolbox that we can see and use. When we use gratitude, it gives us a different perspective, doesn't it? How does our perspective change if, say, we're just focusing on, say we're having difficulty with one of our children and we're just focusing on that difficulty and we're ruminating on that. We're talking about it, only that problem. We're reading specifically about that problem. We miss out on other things that are out there that probably could help us, don't we? We go out and we talk with friends about other things. We get a new perspective on things. We read about different things. We get a perspective on that. If we're in the midst of a difficulty and we decide to read a novel, boy, that can give us a whole new perspective on life, can't it? Yeah, right. So feelings, or the way that we feel about our difficulties in life, follow from the way we look at the world. Thoughts we have about the way things are, the way things should be, and the distance between these two points. So gratitude in the midst of chaos. There's a lot of chaos going on and it's going to continue to go on. We're always going to have things that are unsettled in our lives. but gratitude can help us put the pieces of story together in a way that makes sense and is helpful in our lives. So what does the research show? So when I was looking at the research, there's a lot of little studies, very small, some of them, and they look at one little thing, like they look at, does it help with the way that you view the world? Does it help lower depression, lower anxiety, those kind of things? They're very small and not enough really to say that any of these things are significant. So there's been a couple people that have done these large meta-analysis, which means they've taken a bunch of studies, found the similarities between those, grouped them into a group. So it makes kind of one big, large study. So this was, this first piece that I'm going to share with you was a meta-analysis that was done in the Journal of Positive Psychology, and it was on gratitude and health. And it was a review that was done in 2019. And they looked at 64 articles. And these are all published in peer review journals. And they looked at physical as well as psychosocial outcomes related to gratitude. And what they found was that there were a couple studies when they put them together that showed that doing a gratitude practice decreased the bottom number of your blood pressure, the diastolic blood pressure, immediately after doing some gratitude journaling. So we can get immediate response from doing gratitude. There were a lot of studies that looked at this thing called heart rate variability, which is supposed to be a measure of how much sympathetic or stress hormones you have circulating. The studies did not show any conclusive data that improved heart rate variability, inflammatory markers, or pain perception. It did show improved sleep quality, which means we're waking up less, we're having deeper sleep, more REM sleep. It showed in a number of studies improved adherence to cardiac health behaviors. So if we're having gratitude in our life and are aware of the good things in our life, we're likely feeling more hopeful. When we're feeling more hopeful, we're more likely to follow through with the health behaviors that our doctors are asking us to do. So we're more likely to take our medicines, more likely to follow a good diet, more likely to exercise, those kinds of things, more likely to keep our doctor's appointments. A significant reduction in the level of depression immediately after doing a gratitude practice, also at 1 month after doing the practice, and then also at 3 months. So it seems that people that participated in a gratitude intervention, and I think it was an 8-week intervention, had persistent improvements in their depression, even 1 month and 3 months down the road, a significant reduction in anxiety also. That's enough to make you want to do some gratitude practice, doesn't it? And they also found that in general, gratitude improved our social connections and our relationships. Having good social relationships, both romantic and or platonic, like friends that come here, going to groups, going to church, predict better mental health and physical health. It increases our ability to be committed to friends and family members. It increases our ability to relate to others because we have more empathy. We're more able to get kind of out of ourselves. Increases our ability to form new social relationships. And when we do gratitude, we're more likely to say appreciating things to other people. And why do you think gratitude helps us in our social relationships? When you think of yourself being grateful and feeling gratitude for the good things in your life, how would that help you in your relationship with your spouse, with your children, with people here today?
Better times with them.
You just be in a better, positive space. And when you're in a better, positive space, we tend to notice the good things, right? We tend to notice and are more appreciating of everything, aren't we? Anything else you can think of that feeling more grateful? Reciprocation. Yes, more likely to reciprocate. We reciprocate when we feel more confident about ourselves and we're in a good space ourselves. We're more likely to reciprocate. When we express gratitude to somebody, like even today when I said, I'm so grateful for you all being here, and I did that because I thought I'm giving a gratitude lecture and I want to think about what I'm grateful for. And so that just came up for me that I was grateful for all of you and your, warm faces. And it reminded me, but by doing that, I was on cruise control before that. And just stopping for that moment, it reminded me of why you're all important to me. And it's the same thing. It reminds us of why our friends or our partners are valuable and worth holding on to. It reminds us to look at others and see their value instead of just being on cruise control and marching right by them. When we have a more positive view of another, it leads us to trust that person more because we're seeing the good things in them. We trust that they are going to respond in an honest and truthful and helpful way to us. When we trust someone, we then feel more comfortable talking through disagreements, right? If we don't trust somebody is going to be kind to us or that they're a good person or that we like them, we're less likely to engage in maybe difficult conversations too, because we don't have that trust there. Gratitude enhances, improves our empathy and understanding, leads to better communication and ability to resolve conflicts. And then really importantly, one person's gratitude inspires the other to act in a similar manner. I'm sure you've experienced like going across that used to be the Bay Bridge. Now they don't have people that you can pay, but having somebody pay for you, the car in front of you paying for you. And then what do? I ended up paying for the car behind me, right? And so it can go on and on and on. And Starbucks actually, has had problems with this because it backs everything up at the cash registers, but it still happens at Starbucks where somebody pays for you and then you pay for the car behind you. And so when somebody is grateful for us and tells us what they're grateful for, we want to give back in some way. And so it spreads out in ripples into the world, into our families, into our friends, into programs. This was a study, kind of missing the top part here for some reason. This was a gratitude study that was done by Dr. Emmons. How many of you have heard of Dr. Emmons? He came to one of our parties last year. I think it was last year at this time. He is a big researcher on gratitude at UC Davis, and he's semi-retired now. And he's done a lot of studies on gratitude. And one of his original studies was done with students that were taking some of his classes over on campus. And this first one was done with 201 undergraduate participants. They were assigned randomly to 3 groups. Either they just kept a journal. The instructions were just write down whatever you feel like writing in your journal. And the next one was another group was told to write specifically 5 things they were grateful for. And then the other was told to write down 5 things that had happened that day. I drove my car to Sacramento. I, brushed my teeth, those kinds of things. And this was a 10-week study, and they recorded these things once a week. So once a week, they either just journaled, they wrote down 5 things they were grateful for, or they wrote down 5 things. I'm sorry, it wasn't just life event, it was hassles, 5 hassles that happened during that day. I ran out of gas, I was late for work, those kinds of things. And then they measured things like positive affect, how much they exercised, and how much appreciation or pro-social behavior they had for others in the world. And the Grateful Journal group had significantly higher ratings of joy and happiness. They had significantly higher optimism regarding the upcoming week. They had significantly more favorable life appraisal. When they answered these questions about how well they thought their life was going, they recorded that they thought it was on a Likert scale. So they recorded higher than the people who just journaled and the people who just recorded their hassles. And they also spent a greater amount of time exercising, which was interesting, 1.5 more hours a week exercising when they were doing the gratitude intervention. So relative to focusing on complaints or hassles or neutral life events, focusing on counting one's blessings leads to enhanced psychological and physical functioning. He did another study on 157 undergraduate participants. And this one, he had them do it for 13 days in a row, and they did the intervention every day. So it wasn't just once a week. And so they were assigned either to a gratitude group, or they were assigned to a group about hassles, where they wrote down 5 hassles that occurred, or they wrote down a way that they noticed that they had a greater advantage in the world than other people. And the gratitude showed increased positive affect during the 13-day period. They said they felt more attentive, determined. These are things they checked off on the worksheet that they were given. More attentive, determined, energetic, enthusiastic, interested, joyful, and strong versus the hassles group. No effect was seen from the social comparison group. The gratitude group were more likely to report having offered emotional help to others. So in this study, they asked them, today, did you offer help to anybody? So the gratitude group, more than the hassles group or the social comparison group, stated that they were more likely to help somebody and that they had helped somebody that day. It was interesting. There was no difference in the exercise in this group between the 3 groups. So the gratitude group did not exercise more in this study. So I want to talk a little bit now about what are the key components for creating a gratitude habit. It's all well and good to realize that gratitude is good, but how do we integrate it into our lives? So Dr. Emmons, this is actually his advice. Pay attention to the good things we received or the good things that are present, even during a hard situation, and acknowledge the role that other people play in bringing goodness into our lives. So those 2 things. Pay attention to the good things we've received, even in hard situations, and acknowledge how other people are playing a role in bringing these goodness into our lives. So if you see the little cartoon there, it's kind of the opposite of that. When we're sitting there, everyone's out to get me. What if I'm wrong? I'm a fraud. People are laughing at me. I'm going to die alone. All those things, it's once again, we're noticing that small little dot there, that one area, and we're not noticing all the other things that are around it. So how can we create the gratitude habit? Keeping a journal. Many of us keep journals already, but we don't specifically write down 3 things every day that we're grateful for, right? So it's something you could, if you're already keeping a journal, you could just integrate that into your journaling, where at the beginning or the ending of your journaling, you could just write down 3 quick things. And it doesn't have to be, it's just for you. So you could abbreviate, you could scribble. It's just getting it down there very quickly. And what happens when you actually write something down? You're more likely to remember it. You're more likely to notice it, number one, right? Instead of going through the whole day and having good things happen to you and having people help you and not noticing it, when you write it down and you take time to think about it, you remember it, number one, you notice it, number one, and you remember it, number 2. So journaling is a good thing. Part of that journal is something called 3 good things exercise. And I think thought I had that there. I think I've got it at the end. I'll show you an example of the 3 good things exercise at the end of the talk. But it's just basically writing down 3 good things that you remember from the day. 3 good things. And it can be as simple as, I was happy that they didn't have it too hot in the cardiovascular wellness gym today, I'm always grateful for that. I'm grateful that, somebody smiled at me and said hello, and because the little things are as big as the big things when it comes to gratitude. So also we can share our gratitude with others because it helps our relationships become stronger. So telling somebody what you appreciate about them. I gave a little part of there's this class we're doing right now. It's called the balance class. And I taught a little section of it last week. And somebody came up to me after the class and they just said, I really appreciate that you, gave your little part of the class this week. It was really helpful to me, and I was grateful for that, it was just a wonderful thing. And so Don't underestimate what a value it is to acknowledge in somebody else what you appreciate about them. Just even I acknowledged you taking the time to talk to me today. Just little things like that. And little things like going through the motions of just smiling at somebody, saying hello to others. Thank you. Looking beyond, the gray dot on the screen. And practicing a gratitude reflection. And you don't have to do this every day, but maybe, make it once a week that you're going to do a gratitude reflection. And we're going to try that today. And this is actually, it's in here if you want. It's in this talk, which is always online. You can always go back to it if you want to actually see this gratitude reflection. You can look this up yourself. I also can make copies of it. If anybody wants a copy today, I can give this to you. But let's go ahead and just do this real quickly today, gratitude reflection. So settle yourself in a relaxed position, whatever's comfortable for you. And take a few deep breaths, breaths that you feel all the way down into your abdomen. And they should be calming breaths to relax and center yourself. And then go ahead and just close your eyes. And one more deep breath. And imagine a warm yellow sunlight above your head that is slowly spreading warmth down through your head to your face, warming your face, now into your chest, feeling the warmth as it travels now down into your stomach, through your hips, feeling the warmth spread into your thighs, and now down in through your calves, warming and relaxing your muscles, feeling them relax as it moves down into your feet and toes and into the ground beneath you. And you feel relaxed and at ease. Let your awareness move now to your immediate environment and notice all the things that you can smell right now. Just notice the smells. Notice if there's anything that you can taste right now. The moisture in your mouth. And anything that you can touch right now with your body. Just notice what's touching. Notice your body. And notice what you're able to hear right now in the room. And say to yourself, for this, I am grateful. Next, bring your mind to someone in your life who has made your life easier, or someone who is easy to love. Thank them for what they have done to help you out, or what they have made better in your life. Next, bring to mind other people in your life to whom you are close. Your friends, your family, partners, teachers. And say to yourself, for this, I am grateful. Now send your gratitude to every person you have encountered so far today. Thank them for making your life more interesting, richer, or for ways that they have helped you grow and learn about yourself. And next, turn your attention onto yourself. You are a unique individual, blessed with imagination, the ability to communicate, to learn from the past, and plan for the future, to overcome pains that you may be experiencing. Say to yourself, for this, I am grateful. And finally, rest in the realization that life is a precious gift, that you have a precious gift of life. You have many physical capabilities. You have tears, joy, and everything in between. And say to yourself, for this, I am grateful. And then slowly bring yourself back into the presence, into the room. Open your eyes when you feel comfortable. What was your experience with that? It felt good? Yeah.
Calming and centering.
Calming and centering. Did you notice some things that kind of you had not been thinking about, or did it bring up some things that you were grateful for that you might have not noticed or pushed aside? Remembering some people that have helped you that you might have kind of been on cruise control and not thought of, at least in a while. Yeah. So just taking a moment to practice gratitude brings our attention to things that we might not have thought about. So it's all bringing your attention to things. So the hardest part of being grateful, as you saw, is pretty easy, right? It's pretty easy to do it. The hardest part of creating a gratitude habit is remembering to do it. That's the hardest part. And we don't develop a new habit if we don't do it, right? It just doesn't magically enter into our state of being. So we go through each day, each week, kind of as machines. We're kind of on cruise control. We repeat the same behaviors and tasks. How many of you seen that movie Groundhog Day, where the guy wakes up and every day it's the same, and every day he's annoyed?
Seen it over and over.
Yeah, right. And every day, he's annoyed at the same things and nothing changes, right? Because he's only seeing that gray dot. He's just seeing that one gray dot there, and he's not seeing all the white that's around it. He's not seeing the rest of the world until one day what happens, right? He changes, right? We're in charge of our attitude. We're in control of our attitude, and we can change what we're choosing to see and notice and give our attention to. And what happened when he changed in the Groundhog movie? Well, yeah, he got more love in his life for sure. He gave more love to the world. He got more love back, and that every day was different, right? It wasn't the same repeated focusing on that gray dot day. Yeah, the piece of cake. So the first step is making a vow or a commitment to practice gratitude. So if you listen to this lecture and you've decided it might be helpful for you to develop a gratitude habit right now, not out loud, but just yourself, make a vow to yourself that you're going to practice gratitude, and say to yourself, be specific. Am I going to do this every morning? Am I going to do this daily, at night? So just in your head, I'm going to develop a habit of gratitude, and I'm going to practice it, and how you're going to do it. So I'm going to give you some ideas about ways that you can remember to do it. And one of them is to put, which is my little favorite, is to put Post-it notes. If you look at the nurse's desk over there's a whole little container. It's got thousands of Post-it notes in it, because Carrie and I tend to use a lot of Post-it notes. But you can put a Post-it note reminder somewhere where you will see it. So someplace that you go every day. So you might want to put it on your bathroom mirror, or you could put it on your steering wheel of your car, or you could put it on your front door. for people who go out every day. That's a good place to put it. Because it just takes a second. If you put it on your front door and you see it, as you're going out the door, you could say to yourself, I'm grateful that I'm able to walk today. I'm grateful that I have someplace to go that I'm interested in. You can do that while you're walking out your door. It doesn't have to be a whole production. You can set a daily alarm on your phone that goes off, you know, because you can easily do that. So every day you could set it to go off, say at 10 o'clock or 6 o'clock at night, and it'll alarm. And then you'll just remember, oh, I'm going to say something I'm grateful for when my alarm goes off. And you only need to do these things probably for about 30 days, because then you will have the habit in your head. And then when you walk through the front door, you'll automatically, even if the Post-it note's fallen off and is flying around the house, you'll remember. And even if the alarm, your battery dies on your phone or something, you'll remember if you've done it for 30 days, because it's already developed some circuitry in your brain. Change the wallpaper on your phone. You can change the background on your phone so that it says gratitude on there. So that every time you look at your phone, you're reminded to think of something you're grateful for. Some people like to wear little string bracelets. It's kind of a Buddhist thing, or just any kind of bracelet. Put a dot on your hand somewhere. Although that'll wear off, you have to probably do that every day. But I think the thing that works best for me, if I'm trying to make a behavior change, is to link the gratitude behavior to something that you're already doing every day. So if you brush your teeth every morning, then make your vow or commitment that every time I brush my teeth in the morning, I'm going to think of 3 things I'm grateful for while I'm brushing my teeth. Or if you drink coffee or tea every morning, link it to the drinking of the coffee or the tea, so that you're already doing something every day, and just link your gratitude habit practice to that. Oh, look at that. That's a sign.
Huh?
That's a sign for you.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Yeah. Nice.
What does it say?
It says grateful. And she just found that. Yeah. So can you think of something that you might link your practice to every morning that you do, not every morning, every day, something you do every day already that you could link practicing gratitude at the same time? Doty's going to do it when she drinks her water.
I have signs all over that. I'm a slow learner.
Anybody have any ideas?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was thinking about going to McDonald's or to Taco Bell and talking to the person that is there. It's all machines now. And the people that are actually there, the person, I've become friends with almost.
Right.
Because, and they like that.
Yeah.
It's a gratitude thing,
Yes, it
Then-
is.
makes them feel good.
Yes. And then you're giving them something, and then it changes how they interact with the next person. Yes, it ripples out. But what is something, so you do that. So every time you go there, you think to do that. So you associate going there with practicing gratitude. Very nice.
It doesn't want to make you go to McDonald's more though, does it?
Yeah, you could probably do it at some place where you get tea or something too. Anywhere, for you, it might be anywhere where you're interacting with somebody. A grocery store, exactly. Yeah.
No, what I was gonna say, when I was still working, I had a manager who, because one day a week, Wednesdays, we would have a unit meeting, and it would be information and all that, but she was kind of on the religious side, but she used to say, we had this segment, and I can't remember, it was at the beginning of the meeting or towards the end, but you say proud moments. So you would share, your own personal, family, friend, whatever it was that you wanted to share. And then, we listen and we
Yeah.
or whatever. And it kind of grew, and not everybody, but a lot of people, would share, something and whatnot.
Yeah. No, that's
It
a,
was kind of nice.
yeah, that's very nice. Yeah.
Sometimes we don't acknowledge our own proud moment. I like that she called it proud moment.
Proud moments, yeah.
Well, then I think it's the Rotary maybe. I've been to Rotary meetings where they have, I think they're happy moments or something, where they go around the table and each put a buck in for the happy moment that they had when their son, said good morning, or when their daughter cooked up her toys, or whatever has
Yeah.
happened in their life that's really the same thing. It's
Yeah.
kinda interesting.
Yeah. I mean, you guys could link your gratitude, practicing gratitude to coming here, So every time you walk in the door there, I could put up some sort of, I could put gratitude right by the door there. And then as you walk in the door, every time you just say one thing you're grateful for to yourself, So would you like it if I did that? Yeah, that might be a good thing for everybody. So I'll put up a little, just the word gratitude right by the door there, in a way that maybe everybody can see it and figure it out. And then as you walk through the door, just think to yourself one thing you're grateful for as you walk through the door.
It seems to me that the driving in Sacramento has become crazy.
Yes.
So when we're going to our driveway, we can thank God. that
That's right. That's right, that you got home safely. Yeah,
Good idea.
good idea, yeah. So I just wanted to spend a little bit more time talking about the gratitude journal. How many of you already journal in some way? Anybody? A little bit. So it doesn't have, I put up this example because it doesn't have to be, a whole story. It's just jotting down some positive things that you've noticed in your life and focusing on the things that are going right rather than the things that have gone wrong that day. So this is an example up there, and she's just writing down the cool breeze that she noticed of the summer storm. Talking in robot voices. She must have been with her kids or something, and she talked in robot voices with her kids. Library books, anticipation of things growing in the garden, friends who I've known forever. So it's just, it's a good example of just writing down some simple things or noticing some simple things. And this is the 3 good things activity. You can see it's just very simple things. Baked a cake, phoned Sarah for a chat, 2 hours of research job, had a bath, ate some cake, watched the fire burn, wrote a letter, walked, simple things. So I encourage you to finish off the month with gratitude. This actually is November is National Gratitude Month, and we still got 16 days left. And 16 days, by the time if you did gratitude every day, you'd be well on the way to establishing a habit and changing kind of the way that your mind is working and what it's focusing on. So finish off the month with gratitude. Okay, any thoughts or questions on that? You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, good timing, good reminder. And remember the studies do show it helps with depression and anxiety, and our overall outlook on life is what it really affects. So, and we all need that. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you.